thanks to the committeemen that are on the Zoom call. We appreciate it. And being that the hour of 5 o'clock has arrived, the Public Safety and Licensing Committee is now officially in session. The first order of business will be the approval of the minutes for May 13th, 2024.
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Our next item on the agenda is item 0423-24. Communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the Fire Chief requesting the Mayor, City Clerk, Finance Director, and Fire Chief be authorized to accept the City of Racine portion of the Wisconsin Emergency Management State Urban Search and Rescue Emergency Services contract for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. Grant Control Number 00573. Recommendation of the Finance and Personnel Committee on May 13th of this year that the Mayor, City Clerk, Finance Director, and Fire Chief be authorized to accept and sign the Wisconsin Emergency Management State Urban Search and Rescue Emergency Services contract for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2026. Grant Control Number 00573. Recommendation of the Common Council on May 21st, 2024, that the item be referred to the Public Safety and Licensing Committee. Fiscal note, the city will receive reimbursement for training and services rendered under the agreement. Soft match on the part of the city is under $20,000 annually and is covered in the fire department budget. Thank you, Chief, for coming in to speak to us. I'll turn it over to you. Does he need to be sworn in for this?
He does not.
The floor is all yours, Chief.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about this contract. Should be a historical note, this is a renewal of an existing contract that was agreed by the city and the state from 2022 through 2024. Typically, these contracts go through the Finance and Personnel Committee. The last one went through without any objection or issues. The contract, what it does is it allows us to receive from the state of Wisconsin high-level technical rescue training involving trench, confined space, water rescue, and other disciplines, including high-angle rope rescue. The state provides this training to our firefighters. We send them up to Oakfield, up in near Austin, for this training. Typically, they're up there for a week at a time. The state also pays us for these folks to be up there. So the reimbursement rate, if you will note in the contract, is $55 an hour, which is more than adequate to cover our costs locally here in terms of sending folks up there and having to recall people to backfill. We use these skills throughout the city of Racine and the region in the event that there's an issue, such as the weather today. We have a building collapse or a structural collapse. These people have high-level training that allows them to perform at a very high level to rescue people. So it's not only for the benefit of the city of Racine, it's also a benefit for the region. If we are activated as part of Task Force 1, which is a state team, we are reimbursed for all of our costs that are associated with that activation. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief, for being here. And I'm sorry that you had to come back after 2 weeks.
Not a problem.
But it's something that I think you're going to see more often going forward, that I understand that there's a financial aspect that would warrant the item to go to finance, but it's also a public safety issue. And I think that the existing Public Safety and Licensing Committee members are very, very interested in all the public safety issues that kind of slipped away over the years. So previously, it used to be that a lot of these items would come to Public Safety and Licensing, so we are at least aware where we're at with public safety. It also gives the members an opportunity that they don't always have to have a discussion, a conversation with both the fire chief and the police chief or a representative when that arises. So be patient while we work out some of these things. And I thank you for making the effort to come in this afternoon and tell us a little bit about this grant and what it means for public safety for the city of Racine.
Anyone else?
No?
Anyone on Zoom have any questions or comments? At this time, a motion to approve would be in order.
Motion to approve?
Have a motion, is there a second? Motion,
Second, I just have a question though. Because this already has been approved by finance, does it need to be approved here as well, or can it just be received and filed?
I thought it had to get it taken off the, agenda, off the Legistar, since it's an item on here. Is that correct?
Yeah, it would be appropriate to approve if you want to move forward with, to forward this onto the Common Council for enactment.
All right, then we have a motion, I believe a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief, and keep up the good work. Our next item is item 015824, communication sponsored by myself, Alder Pete, on behalf of the City Clerk's Office, submitting a new application for a secondhand article dealer's license, Misha's Treasures, DBA Misha's Treasures, which is located at 1202 North Main Street, Victoria Schrader, Agent, 4th District. Recommendation of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee on April 8th of this year that the application for the secondhand article dealer's license, Misha's Treasures, DBA Misha's Treasures, located at 1202 B, North Main, Victoria Schrader, Agent, 4th District, be deferred. No physical note here. With that, thank you for coming forward. Attorney N, would you please swear the applicant in?
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Hello, I realize it was just in April, but could you give us a general idea of exactly what your business plan is?
Is to sell like secondhand items, like almost between like antique and not antique, and then we also have like some first-hand items, like we do T-shirts and shot glasses and different items like that, little knickknacks.
Okay. Is there anything else in terms of hours of operation or anything like that? I believe you had experience, if I recall, from before, but you might want to refresh.
Yes, I've had experience with customer service and being management for a while, so I feel like I could do this very well. And my hours of operation are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Is there any other questions from anyone on the committee?
I do.
Please.
Probably for the attorney, if that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I ask the attorney,
Okay.
that's okay. Could you just give me some history, since that was new members on this panel? What was the reason that this item was?
Sure. So there was an investigation being done by RPD related to some allegations of activity that was beyond the scope of the second-hand dealings, and I would defer to RPD on the exact investigation and results on that.
Yeah, that's, as far as I was informed, there's nothing that is any sort of criminal activity that was. I was advised during the investigation that there was nothing that they found to be detrimental to their business or anything like that, so.
Yes.
Just a quick question regarding the address. It's 1202B.
Yes.
Is that a store that's divided in half, or?
No, it has a store, and then there's an apartment above it.
Okay, so the B is just for the main level?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, the whole building is 1202, and the little storefront is B. The back of the building is 1202, and the upstairs 1202 and a half. So we're only utilizing that front part for the store.
Thank you.
Is there another level, like a basement?
there is a basement, but that's where we keep all the inventory.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Chairman, I have a comment and question.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Us on Zoom, we can't hear too much of what was stated prior, either by the attorney or the Racine Police Department. So my question would be, and maybe there's a level of reiterating that needs to get done, but if the concern was that their business was possibly, there was a front going on of another activity, and that's what was going to be investigated. And my question then would be, if we do proceed forward and everything is, legit, and but then we find out later on that something comes up. I know that this is not a liquor establishment and there's due process for a liquor establishment. What would be the process that we have if some public safety concerns do arise in the future? Maybe that question's to the attorney's office.
So my understanding is that there would be two options. It would be either not renewing at the next renewal period or going through a similar procedure of due process to revoke the license.
I thought we had a different route that was taken to non-liquor establishments.
My apologies. The committee itself does the due process hearing.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that refreshed my memory.
Any other questions from any committee members or comments? I realize that Michael had signed to speak. Would you like to come up and be sworn in for a second, please?
Yeah.
I want to try to try to keep it to less than 2 minutes, please.
You could raise your right hand.
Oh, right hand. I'm left-handed.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You had signed up, so I'm giving you an opportunity to speak.
Oh, I just signed up just to support her. But we're in the process of pivoting right now from secondhand to firsthand. But we've got so much secondhand inventory, we've got to sell it. So that's why we have to have the permit for this year, because the secondhand market has just crashed. So we're actually gonna focus on the people going to the beach. This is a long-term business plan. That's why we're buying T-shirts and shot glasses and beach-related things, so that people going to the beach have little touristy things that they can bring back from Racine. But we've got so much secondhand, we've got to sell it.
Okay.
That's why we have to have the permit right now, is just to sell that.
Okay.
And you'll notice we've been working on the building too, as we've been going along. So you'll start seeing some improvement.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for the attorney's office. Would they be able to use the same license if they went to new merchandise?
So it would depend. The license itself is for secondhand selling. Whether they would need a different license for general first-hand retail would be, I do not think that they would need one, but I would have to look into that.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you. Any other questions or concerns from any committee members?
Chairman?
Yes, Alder Kapralian.
Thank you. You asked a question that I was concerned about as well with that additional information. Right now, what is up to be voted on is a secondhand article dealer license. So I would just advise the applicants, if this does pass, to stick with that. And if something does come up where they do change their business plan, where I've seen other businesses kind of get in trouble is when they change it without coming back before the city. So do make sure if you are trying to align with the market and that you do submit some type of communication or reach out to the clerk's office or the city attorneys, just so it doesn't end up being like a mar on your record.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns from anyone on the committee? Seeing none, at this time, a motion would be in order. Is there a motion?
Typically, the vice chair makes those motions, but I'd be happy to make a motion to approve.
I
The
Okay.
second
do not
one.
feel comfortable with making the motion.
I just wondered, because we're Zooming, if it was a different protocol. I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm sorry? Could you repeat that, Alder Cole? I think it was Alder Cole.
Second.
It wasn't.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Motion and second, no discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
So you do know that this will go to council next Tuesday? Yeah. And if you have any questions, contact the clerk.
Okay.
Thank you all. Our next item is 041324, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a new application for a public dance hall, LLC, DBA Marco's Bar, located at 3001 Douglas Avenue. Slavic agent. I want to point out that the applicant wasn't able to make it. His representative was here, and he agreed to defer it to the next meeting, assuming that the principal will be out of the hospital.
I'm happy to make that motion then, to make it official to defer.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 041324 will be deferred. Our next item is item 047424, communication sponsored by myself, Alder Pete, on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting an application for a Class B and Class C fermented malt beverage and wine license for Sixth and Chaos, LLC, DBA Sixth and Chaos, located at 607 6th Street, Ashley Blank, Agent, First District. Thank you for coming forward. Attorney, would you please swear the applicant in?
If you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, welcome. And could you please share your business plan, things like hours of operation, type of experience? Tell us a little bit about your business, how you would be an asset to the community, things of that nature, please.
Sure. So we have our hours of operation set from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. right now on the weekdays and 7 a.m. to 2:30 on the weekends. But really, we're not going to be utilizing all that time typically unless there's a special event. We are more of an event hall, so we're going to be renting it out for wedding receptions. We just had a baby shower this past weekend, like things like that. And then we are going to be a wine bar as well. So we're going to have fun events like speed dating and even like speed dating for friends, stuff like that. And different shows. And my experience, I have been doing bartending, bar managing since college, off and on, for like the last 12 years. And that's that.
Sir? Yes.
For the Good Neighbors report, there was a satisfactory report generated by Attorney Arn. In this case, I will note that there was an amendment submitted to include some basement storage area that was initially left out of the initial application. So if there were a motion to approve, I would ask that it would be the amended application be approved to include that basement storage area. Other than that, there were no concerns from the city attorney's office about the operation of this establishment.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Maybe I missed this somewhere, but it looks like on the plan that your intended hours were from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. But then,
We amended that when
and the reason for that?
just in case, if there's events that go later, so that everybody's out of the building at the correct time, so we just wanna make sure, we're really not gonna be open past 11 on typical nights, but again, if there's an event, like a wedding reception or something, and we're tearing down, so we just wanna make sure that we have hours that are, gonna work with that.
So a question for the attorney's office. If someone's business hours were until 11 p.m. and staff was in the establishment after 11 p.m., would that be an issue?
So staff was in the establishment and it was only staff and they were engaged in activity related to their employment. So not hanging out, not consuming alcohol, not, spending free time listening to music, that would be appropriate. If they were doing any of those activities that were not related to their employment, or if there were customers still in the establishment, then it would be a violation. So at whatever time the end in the license is the last time that any non-cleanup activities essentially can occur.
Any other questions or comments from the committee? Yes.
Do you have any other partners or anyone else that's gonna be acting as an agent?
Chad Evans, he's not an agent, he's just a partner.
Alder Cole?
Oh, I'm sorry. Everything's froze. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, you guys are froze. I went and talked to the business owner and stuff off and on for the last few months. And this is something new they want to try that I think is going to be an asset to the community. So I want to give these guys a shot at this. So I would vote to approve this item.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Yes.
Are you gonna have security?
Yeah. Our cameras are registered with the Racine Police Department right now, and we will have security outside the door at all times during events and evenings.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? I'm sorry.
Looking for the document with the type of license we're applying for. It was a Class B, which is, can you just remind me?
They are applying for a Class Big B license, which includes, is it small B?
And a Class C.
And a Class C. So it's Class small B is only beer, Class C is wine. So there would not be under their application any alcohol spirits.
Thank you. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to confirm that. Thank you.
So at this time, are there any other questions or?
I will make a motion to approve the amended application.
Have a motion, is there a second? Have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Thank you, Alder Cole. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Good luck. Our next item is 048024, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a change of ownership application for a gas station service license, Lathrop Cash Discount, LLC DBA Lathrop Cash Discount, which is located at 2501 Lathrop Avenue. Mr. Bazar, Salas Bazaar, 11th District. Thank you. Please, is he here?
Not signed up yet. Did not
Did-
sign up.
You not here?
No.
I'd move this to defer this to the end of the agenda.
I have a motion.
So if we make a motion, kind of like last time, if we make a motion to defer and then we vote on it, it'll just go to the next meeting. If you want to do it at the end of the agenda, I would just say let's hold and move on to the next item.
Okay, let's hold and move on to the next
Okay.
item. Thank you.
It'll be easier.
Do you hear me okay out there? Can you hear me?
The next item is 046324, subject communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of Dan DeMont, agent for Dewey's Restaurant and Sports Bar, which is located at 600 Main Street, to discuss renewal of the alcohol beverage license. Applicant, thank you for coming forward.
I do. We gotta do the whole thing. If you could raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Mr. DeMont, you're here to discuss the renewal of your liquor license and not being actively open. Please explain. Bar's been, you understand what we're,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you know, this is for Dewey's, the building is for sale.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are kicking tires, we haven't a buyer yet. But if it doesn't sell soon, I'm currently doing some remodeling work, you know, fixing the floors and painting and stuff. So if it doesn't sell in a few months, I may have to reopen the bar. So I need to have my license in case that it comes to that.
When you say a few months, can you give me an idea of what you mean by a time frame?
You know, maybe by the end of the summer.
So you, roughly 3 months, 4 months, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, see what I uncover while I'm remodeling. And there was the presidents, I remember Bureau's was remodeling for a long, long time, and so.
Okay. Any questions from anyone on the committee?
I do.
Yes,
Can
you
you
go
just explain that, his question, or, you know, for the county answer?
Sure, so under the ordinance, 6-8787, there is a requirement that the city has that any, retail establishment, so bar, or any other, organization that has a Class B, Big B, Class B, Little B, or Class C license has to be continuously engaged in business. This committee has in the past allowed for remodelings and things like that. I will note for this item, it cannot be deferred because the licenses all end at the end of June. And so if it is not renewed, there will be no license to defer to the next agenda based on the period of time that the Common Council meeting is. There is no specific amount of time that they have to be closed to be in violation of 6-87, and the action that the board could take would be a revocation of the license for a violation of that, and that revocation is at the board's good judgment on whether they want to call in a establishment that is not actively using their license.
So are you saying if the license is renewed and with a stipulation that it has to be open within a certain period of time, they could be called back in and the license could be rescinded?
There would have to be some level of hearing to do that, but yes, correct.
So do you know what the protocol was for that other establishment for Bureau, and they got some sort of a...
Yeah, I don't know the exact situation with the Bureau, but it has been common in the past for the committee to issue licenses that are conditional on the business opening in a certain amount of time. That's typically for a new business or for a transfer of license. In my limited experience staffing this committee, I've not seen any for a existing business, but that doesn't mean that it could not be done.
Chairman?
Yes.
So with what was stated, that we don't have enough time to defer for a next meeting, I have some concerns with how this is written on the agenda. And maybe this is to the attorney. It sounds like the direction we would have to take if we were to follow with this business owner's plan, if you will, is that a condition on the renewal, it would have to be renewed at this point because we don't have the option to do it next month, but a condition to renew, you know, with some type of stipulations, if nothing ends up opening. But the way that this agenda is written, it is just requesting the appearance. It's not anything that speaks to the renewal of this license.
Yeah, so I'll clarify a little bit, so that we cannot put a condition on the business to reopen at a specific time, but what the board can, or what the committee can do is if it is not open, they can call back in the owner for a due process hearing to revoke based on that violation.
I guess I'm trying to get before that process and before we would have to impose a due process. That's what I'm asking a route to take, because at this point, it would have been good if we could take it up at this meeting. But unfortunately, the way that the agenda is written, the item is written on there, we can't take that action. So it sounds like our next action, if it doesn't follow through and a new owner doesn't take over, or if Mr. Dumont doesn't open it, that if he doesn't turn in his license voluntarily, that we have to then enter into a due process hearing. That sounds pretty rough. If you ask me if we can address that now, I would be looking for some action to do so, or a course to do so.
So the agenda item is to discuss the renewal application, and the actions that can be taken are to deny or approve the renewal. There was proper notice given for this by Attorney Arnn, based on what the committee can do regarding the license as it stands today.
So with the wording discuss the renewal of the alcohol beverage license, we do then have the wiggle room to make this a motionable item to either, and I'm not looking at putting conditions on it as you would like a new application, but I know we've been using the example as Vero's, which it's a little bit different, and I'm sure Alder Coe could fill us in more historically on that. But it looks like what you're saying is how it is written, we do have some wiggle room to make this an actionable item.
So the wiggle room here is it's to either renew the license or to not renew the license. If it were to be renewed and this committee were to call in the agent for not operating, then due process would have to occur. The only requirement for notice is that the owner was notified that renewal could be denied at that time, and that was provided by the letter that was sent out. We can't provide any actual conditions on the license itself. It's just if the committee views it as not operating, it can be called in for due process.
Any other discussion or comments from the committee? Just a second, please. First, did you happen to sign up? Okay, sure.
All right, if you could raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that you made the comment that it was for new, usually for newer transferred licenses. And the reason he brought up Vero's is because they were in operation, then they stopped operating for a long time to remodel, and they're 2 doors away from us. That's why we know what was going on. And there wasn't an issue. So we feel like that lines up with, us also. It is an existing business that stopped for quite a long time and then, came back and it did. That's all I want to say.
Any other discussion or comments from the committee?
So there's no way of, putting some sort of like an extension or a pause on that?
No. It's just renew or not renew at this point.
Alder Cole?
Yes, and talking about Vero, some of that did happen. It went for a very long time. We let that go. And Dewey's has been around for a long time. And I trust, I would like to approve this to get this moving forward. And I trust them that they're gonna comply, and if they don't get going in the next month or so, that they're gonna, redo their building and reopen again. They'll have to go through, get all new permits at the building department and health department and everything like that. So there is steps in there. There is steps there that will, have them do what they need to do. So if no one has anything else, I'd make a motion to approve this license, and we can always bring this back again later.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Who made the motion? Thank you, sir. Good luck. Hope it goes smoothly for you either way.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Our next item is 0464-24, communication sponsored by Alder Pete, myself, on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of Courtney Marshall, agent for 20 Grand LUX LLC, which is located at 1307 Douglas Avenue, to discuss renewal of the alcohol beverage license. 4th District, thank you for coming forward. Attorney, would you please swear the applicant in?
All right, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. What's the connection with the other?
My attorneys. So Anthony Nudo and Mackenzie Terry of Terry and Nudo Law Office.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Marshall, you're here to discuss the renewal of the liquor license and again, not being actively open for a period of time. And the ordinance does state that you have to be open because of the limited license. So could you please explain the situation that's going on? If you plan on renewing it, et cetera?
Yes, I plan on renewing it. Just a little bit of issues with the building. It's a little bit older. I don't own a building, so I have to talk with the owner to do certain things, so it caused a little complications at that time. So now we got pretty much everything ready. So when I got my liquor order and everything, so we're ready to open up.
When do you anticipate opening?
Probably Saturday.
Okay.
So yes.
Any questions or comments from anyone on the committee? Attorney, do you have anything?
I have nothing on this one. It's the same standard as the last item on the agenda, so it's the same ordinance, it's the same requirements.
Okay. Any questions or comments from anyone on the committee? Yes, Jeff. Alder Cole,
Yeah.
please.
I have some concerns just for the fact that for the most part of the whole last year, I've only seen them open once or twice. And it's a huge concern for me with the, because of the value of licenses, and they haven't been open. So I do have concerns about that. I mean, if they are gonna open, that's one thing, but if they're gonna open again and then be closed for 3-4 months and then open one day out of the week, it's not a good thing. So I just need.
Reserve license,
Say-
not like an ordinary license. I paid
It-
$10,000 for my license.
Sir,
No.
second, please. One at
No.
a time.
That it has no bearing whether it's a reserve license or not. They're still the same way. You can ask the city attorney to explain that. The licenses are still the same. You have to be in continuous operation. Am I right? I'm asking the attorney, am I right with that?
Yes, so the two licenses, whether it's a reserve license or a regular license, are treated the same under the ordinance for Class Big B, Little B, and Class C licenses.
Any other questions or comments from anyone on the committee?
Chairman?
Alder Cole, you still have your hand up.
I'm good right now.
Can the attorney please define continuous operation?
So it's defined in the ordinance as actively or continuously engaged in business. The exact interpretation of that is up to the committee on whether the establishment was what they consider to be actively or continuously engaged in business.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
I will just say this,
Yes.
that I would treat each applicant the same. So I understand that it's not been open consistently. It's kind of a different ballgame when you're leasing or renting a building, when it comes to building code and taking care of things that have to get taken care of. I would make a motion to approve this license.
Okay. I'll accept that as a motion.
With the understanding that he's going to open the business like he said he was gonna.
Okay, but of course, that, as the attorney said, we can't make that a condition, but as long as you understand what, as she said, just like the last one, it has to be done, otherwise we would have to go through a due process. So Alder Widener made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
Things work out good for you. Our next item is 046624, communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of David Lewis, agent for Duo Bar and Grill, located at 1102 Mount Avenue, pursuant to a formal expression of concern, and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern. I understand that the applicant, Mr. Lewis, has surrendered his license. So I'd like to make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Wait,
What?
he's got, is some other Caprillion?
I'm sorry, all the Caprillion, I thought it was frozen.
No, it wasn't frozen, but it's all good. I was just gonna make that motion to receive and file. And then I heard the second from, I think,
I'm sorry.
Alderwoman Widener and then Alder Kelly.
Sorry, Alder.
It's all good.
We're all on the same page. That's a good thing. I'm sorry. If there any opposed?
No.
Seeing none, motion carries. We will defer item or receive and file item 046624. Next item is 046524, communication sponsored by myself, Alder Pete, on behalf of the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, requesting the appearance of Shaquila Buckley, agent for 1518, which is located at 1520 Washington Avenue, pursuant to a formal expression of concern, and also requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern. Thank you, Ms. Buckley. Please come forward, and the attorney will swear you in.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buckley. Ms. Buckley, you were called in today because of the committee has received notice of one or more concerning incidents at your establishment. As a result, the committee has issued a formal expression of concern against you under Section 627 of the ordinance to discuss issues related to the premise, including but not limited to the incident of underage event at the bar on April 6th of this year, 2024, and the overcapacity issues in the parking lot on April 21st, 2024. If you are issued two within a 6-month period or 3 or more in a 1-year period, you will be referred to the city attorney's office for disciplinary proceedings. We will start with the police department summary. After that, you will have an opportunity to address the committee. Remember, you are not required to discuss any specific incident unless you wish, but you have to tell us how you intend to address the issues going forward. Sergeant Tillman?
I wasn't totally prepared to speak on these as far as specifics go, but I do remember the events. The underage event at the bar was an event that took place that day, and there were officers in the area when they got released from the bar. I believe it was around 8 p.m., if I remember correctly. They were running across the street, impeding traffic and things like that, and then contact was made at the bar, and that's when they realized that it was an underage event, which my understanding is goes against their license. And at that point in time, Mr. Buckley stated that he was no longer going to have underage events because they can't handle it, basically meaning young persons can't handle that at that establishment. And then the overcapacity issues at the parking lot, I believe this is the one where there were several vehicles parked in non-parking spaces, and several citations were issued in the rear parking lot of the premises.
Anything else?
That's all I have on those two issues.
Thank you. Ms. Buckley, care to comment, please?
Yes, so as far as the underage, I'm at event center, okay? It was to my knowledge because I have the public dance hall license that I could throw underage parties for the community. So that needs to be clear. I mean, there was no alcohol or anything sold. The bar was actually closed. So if I need some clarity there, then...
Attorney, excuse me, do you have a copy of the communique from Attorney Earn concerning that license?
I do, correct.
Could you read that, please?
Yes, so the section of the ordinance that applies to dance halls does not apply in the same way to establishments that serve alcohol. You have a Class B license pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 125.07, sub 3, sub A. It states that no underage person not accompanied by his or her parent or guardian may knowingly attempt to enter or be on any premises for which a license or permit for the retail sale of alcohol beverages has been issued. So if you have the dance hall permit, you can have an underage party if you do not have a Class B premise. You do have a Class B premise, therefore it would be a violation of your license to have any underage person on the premises, regardless if alcohol is being served or not, due to having that license.
Does that make sense? I can understand how it could have been a little bit of a overlap, miscommunication there, or misunderstanding, because you have the Class B. If you gave up one, I'm not hypothetically just trying to make sure it's clear. Okay, you understand, I'm gonna go any further. Any questions from anybody on the committee?
I do.
Yes.
I think that this needs to stay on the record, not be rescinded. Who's asking to have it rescinded?
Would you care to elaborate any more? Or
Well, I'm just reading off what you have on the agenda here.
Okay.
Requesting consideration of rescinding the formal expression of concern. I think this is the problem that we get in over and over again is we're constantly rescinding, and then we're constantly having these reports read at the end of these meetings with these frequent flyers over and over again. So I'm going to be pretty firm on that. It needs to stay on the record that this was a second offense?
Yes, so I will add two things. The first is that there are exceptions to the statute I read out, but there are no applicable exceptions to this specific event. The only one that could have been applicable is receiving written permission from RPD to hold the event. That was not received in this case. So I want to clarify on my reading of Attorney Arn's email. Regarding the number of events, the last time that 1518 was called in was in November of last year, so November 27th of 2023. This would make this their second time within 6 months, which would then have them referred for a due process hearing.
But can I just ask a question?
Yes.
For record purposes, didn't the previous committee already rescind for the same location?
So there has been expressions of concern for this location that have been rescinded, but those cannot be counted against the establishment because of the rescinding. That November 27th, that was not rescinded, that one does count against them. That is the only one during the relevant periods of time that has not been rescinded and is on the record.
Okay. So I'm going to recommend that we do not rescind this.
I have a question about the 6 month, being that don't have a calendar in front of me, obviously, but you said it was November 27th. It seemed like it's really close here.
Yes, November 27th of 2023. So it goes from the date that the motions were made to call them in. So because the motion to call in was done at the last PSNL meeting, then it was within that 6 month window.
Gotcha.
Where if it was made today, it would be a day outside of that window.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from anybody on the committee?
I do have a comment, but I think Alderwoman Kelly did want to make a motion to approve the formal expression of concern. So I think there was a motion lingering, waiting for a second.
Before we have a vote, I want to clarify one more thing. I'm sorry. They've only been called in once, and it was for that November 27th, 2023 call-in. All the other times were during a period of time in which they were either applying for a license or changing their hours, were their appearances before this board. Only the one expression of concern occurred that was at the November 27th, or that was filed on November 27th, 2023, and that was received and filed, so it is on the record. They've no other call-ins that were either rescinded or otherwise. It's just the one that they have at this point.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to approve formal expression of concern.
Second.
Yes.
Question, you guys are like talking amongst yourselves. I'm not following. Could someone please explain what's going on?
I'll let the attorney please clarify.
Sure. Under the City of Racine ordinances, there's a formal expression of concern proceeding. So based on call-ins by the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, they call you in when there are allegations of either license violations, ordinance violations, or other things of that sort associated with your establishment. And depending on what happens at the hearing, they can either rescind or they can receive and file. If you have 2 expressions of concern that are received and filed within the 6 month period, or 3 in a 1 year period, it triggers a hearing before the due process board. What will happen is there's a referral to my office. Attorney Arn is going to review to determine if there are sufficient grounds to file a action against you to try to revoke your license, or whether there is a settlement agreement that can be reached. At that point, it would just be referred to the city attorney's office for further work on the file. As you know, you've been here a few times. What I was saying about the formal expression of concern, you only have one of those so far. Every other meeting that you've attended has either been regarding your application for your license or your hours, and so anything that occurred at those meetings isn't held against you, at least under the expression of concern framework. It's only that November 27th, 2023 call-in that counts under this framework.
Does that clarify it for you? Okay.
I also have another question. motion regarding the overcrowded parking lot.
There is a motion and a second on the floor. We typically have to, it's now the committee's discussion because there is a motion and a second.
They need to let us explain.
Is there any further discussion with the committee? Yes.
I still
I just
have,
a question.
Alder Widener, please.
I just had a question, how, action on the item 0465 is going to rub up against the next item.
Yes, so the next item is about renewing the license. That is something that could be done independently of this item, so there conceivably could be a receiving the formal expression of concern and renewing the license, receiving and not renewing, or vice versa.
Thank you.
Good question.
Oh, where'd Melissa go?
Alder Capri, your hand is still up.
yes, it is. I didn't get to speak yet. So, in speaking in favor of the motion, I just want to speak while the establishment may have been unaware and misunderstood the law. It is their responsibility as a business to understand and comply with that law and regarding any regulations pertaining to their operation. So ignorance is never acceptable defense for violating it. So again, if you are going to take in and be part of a business that's a privilege of having liquor, you really need to thoroughly do your due diligence. It's not up to the community to educate you. It is you as the business owner. So, you know, based on that, the lack of awareness is not an excuse for violation. So I will be in support of that motion.
Okay, thank you. We do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. No opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is, as the attorney pointed out, is the renewal of the license.
Excuse me, can I be allowed?
Chairman, I do have to step out now.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead, please. For the sake of time, I'll give you a courtesy to speak a second.
What's happening here is there's no clarity. There's no clarity, and I understand what the alder is saying, but there is no clarification. Ignorance is no excuse for the law. That doesn't work. Clarity, information, transparency. That's supposed to happen here in this committee. And that's not happening because I, as an ex-alderman, I don't even understand what just happened. I don't. And that's a problem.
Well, for the sake of courtesy, I'll reiterate what has been said. This is the second time that they've been called in for violations within 6 months. Based on the ordinance, they have to go through the review process at this point. They'll work with Attorney Earn, and if an agreement can be reached, that would happen. But it's kind of like, okay, let's see how can we fix the problem. So the next item is there's two things here. The next item is the renewal of the license. Okay. I don't know if that makes any sense. But unfortunately, this procedure and the license renewal happen to be at the same time because the license expires at the end of June. We wouldn't have any other time for it. Okay. But it's already voted on now, though. All right, I'm sorry. But anyway, item number 0472-24, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the City Clerk's Office submitting the renewal request for 1518 LLC, DBA 1518, which is located at 1520 Washington Avenue, Chicago, Buckley Agent, 3rd District. This item is the renewal of the license that we just discussed, coming up after the first round of renewals from the last meeting. Are there any questions about the renewal application from the committee?
I'd like some information from the city attorney on this particular item.
Yes, so this is a renewal of the 1518's license. This committee has two options. It would be to renew or to not renew. It has the same time criteria as the two that we talked about earlier in the meeting, where if there is a deferral, it would result in the license being not renewed by default. So this committee can choose to deny renewal for the same allegation and same violations alleged for the two expressions of concern that have now been received and filed. The result would be where Ms. Buckley then could appeal through a written notice to the city clerk's office and receive a due process hearing. Those due process hearings could happen at the same time as the one for the formal expression of concern, were there to be a deferral. If there were to were there to be a denial. If there were to be a renewal, it would only be the one hearing that would go forward on the two formal expressions of concern.
Any other questions or comments from the committee?
So I know this was on the other list.
I got just a second, Alderco. Go ahead, please.
I know this was on the other list before, so was there someone that assisted with this application other than yourself?
Okay. At this time, if there are no other questions or concerns, Alderco, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead, please.
This is for the city attorney. So they haven't gone to a due process yet. So there haven't been, for better lack of word, convicted on anything on this. Would it be prudent to approve this item? And then when it goes to the city attorney, then it can come back to committee. Am I wrong on this? Or no?
So I can't exactly advise on the prudency of taking one action or another. If this committee were to deny the renewal, there would be a due process hearing provided Ms. Buckley requests a due process hearing, there would be a due process hearing on whether that denial would be acceptable. There also is, because of that second formal expression of concern, going to be a due process hearing on whether the license should be taken, whether the committee views non-renewing and the second formal expression of concern as prudent or just one of the two is prudent, is a decision to be made by the committee. But in result, what would happen is there would be a due process hearing, at least on the formal expression of concern and on the non-renewal if Ms. Buckley asks for one, to ultimately decide the issue based on what Attorney Arnn can prove through a contested hearing.
Anyone else have any comments? I have some myself. Alder, your hand is still up. I would say that considering this is only the second formal expression of concern, still has to go through the due process, I would recommend approving the renewal of the license because we, again, as the attorney sort of hinted at, and when the Alderco pointed out, we're still in a society where you're innocent to proven guilty, and I think we would be going ahead too far by denying it at this point. So I'm in support of approving the license renewal for those reasons. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
You know, I let it slide the first time, but should the chair be making motions? I mean, that's something on that I don't usually see happen.
I will say this is a part of this that I'm not super firm on, but my recollection is that it is a practice in the city of Racine that chairs typically refrain from making motions. My my knowledge is that it is not an actual ordinance saying that they are prevented from doing so. It's just a practice or a habit or a courtesy that the chair usually has.
Is there, you'd like to make a motion?
No, I think there's others that may wish to make a motion,
Okay,
and I
point
think
well
they should
taken.
have that opportunity.
Thank you. Point well taken.
I think, the pecking order that, of how we each get appointed to this, the pecking order would be the vice chair, who's no longer here, then the third in line would be Alderman Cole, the fourth in line would be Alderman Kelly, and I'm last. And even though any of us can make a motion, I've noticed that this committee typically likes to stick to that pecking order, so my question would be for Alderman Cole, if he's willing to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Is there any opposed?
Any opposed? I thought it said that, I'm sorry. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So you guys are clear on what happened here tonight, I guess, because two things did happen. Okay,
We're gonna keep going.
Can you, get the attorney to give her
I'm sorry.
some clarity on that,
Okay.
on that parking lot?
You can talk to them. Okay, I have two people that have to be excused at this point.
Oh, did we get that email?
No, but we need to keep going because
Okay,
we have another
okay.
meeting to go to.
Our next item is 05424, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office submitting the renewal request for Speedway LLC, DBA Speedway number 2089, which is located at 4620 Washington Avenue. Cantonese Walker agent, not here. I don't think they're required to come.
No. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion opposed? Motion carries. Item 050524, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office submitting the renewal request for Speedway LLC, DBA Speedway number 4451, which is located at 2110 South Green Bay Road. Camelia Harris, agent, District 14.
Move to approve.
Any discussion?
That second.
Both of y'all did
We
at the
did.
same time. I caught you. Okay, the motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 050524, communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the city clerk's office. Oh, I did that one, I'm sorry. 047124, on communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the city clerk's office submitting a renewal application for a massage establishment license, Partners in Design, DBA Partners in Design, which is located at 506 Gould Street, Racine 53402, Janet Santa, owner, 4th District.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
But you missed.
Motion
Aye.
motion
But
carries.
you got one.
Oh,
You missed an item.
no, we didn't.
You missed an item.
He's breaking up.
Yeah.
050524, you did 050424.
We did that one.
Yeah.
That was, we did that one right after
were sliding
15,
it back.
18.
We're just moving right along.
All right. No, the
Gotta
bottom
keep
one.
up. Did that one.
50524. That wasn't brought up. Never mind.
Alder Cole, you made a motion on both of those items to approve.
All right, then I missed one. I apologize.
Okay, good, Alder Cole? If so, we'll go to
Yep,
zero
we're good to go.
four. Okay, 047124, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office submitting another renewal application. Well, that's the one we were just voting on, though.
Yes, sir, on 0402
024.
We're on this one.
0471, right?
We just voted on that.
We're on
With-
0402.
Okay. So we just approved that one. Okay, another renewal, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office submitting a renewal application for the 2024 through 2025 motor vehicle towing license for Racine Recovery, LLC DBA Racine Recovery, which is located at 2817 Eaton Lane, 7th District. Recommendation of the Public Safety and License Committee on 5/31/24 that the application for a 2024-2025 motor vehicle towing license, Racine Recovery, LLC DBA Racine Recovery, which is located at 2817 Eaton Lane, District 7, be deferred.
We're not deferring this again, are we?
I'm sorry.
No,
We were
no,
deferring.
move to approve. Move to
Second.
approve.
No wonder you're confused, you're moving twice.
If I could,
Yes, please.
Yes.
Either that or you're stuttering.
this is, I believe it was wanted to be deferred because this is, the investigation.
That's what I wanted to say.
Part of, some price gouging going on by Racine Recovery. There's an investigation going on from the city of Racine. And Attorney Arnn asked me to relay this information from our traffic investigator, Nelson. So, if I may.
Please.
So this is from, traffic investigator Nelson. This issue stems from a crash which, RPD investigated under complaint number 23-43321, obviously, which is last year, based on the complaint number. This is a quasi-brief synopsis of, what happened. Investigator Nelson was contacted by Chase Leonard, who was contacting me in his capacity as director with the Wisconsin Towing Association. Chase indicated that he was contacted by a tow driver who towed the vehicle in question and noted what he thought to be an outrageous bill. Chase gave him the details he had from his third-party tow operator, including a copy of the payout receipt from Finishing Touch Auto Body. Investigator Nelson made contact with Germantown Mutual Insurance in reference to the bill to determine if they paid the bill and if so, how much they paid. Germantown Mutual was billed $5,187 for the tow and storage. They contracted with Cousineau Auto Incorporated to tow the vehicle from Finishing Touch. Cousineau offered Germantown Mutual $850 for the 2013 white Buick Verano, which Germantown accepted. Total payout then for Germantown Mutual after receiving the $850 from Cousineau was $4,337. When Investigator Nelson spoke to the claims rep from Germantown Mutual and advised her that the tow should have only cost $140 plus potentially some cleanup fees and storage, she was floored and quite upset. Investigator Nelson asked for and received some receipts for their payout to Cousineau and proceeded to get a copy of the impound invoice from Racine Recovery. The invoice showed that they billed incorrectly for after-hours tow cleanup fees, even though the tow was completed before 1,700 hours on Saturday, October 21st, 2023. The fees Racine Recovery used were for after-hours towing and cleanup. Investigator Nelson then noted another tow charge for $185, a flatbed charge, two fuel surcharges, and a winching charge. The receptionist at the Racine Recovery location on Eaton Lane indicated the vehicle came in on a police tow, but was later towed from Eaton Lane to Finishing Touch on Douglas Avenue. This then was where the second tow charges accrued. Investigator Nelson asked Germantown Mutual if they authorized the vehicle to be moved from Finishing Touch and was advised that they did not, but the vehicle owner may have. Investigator Nelson then spoke to the vehicle owner, Scott Menka, who told him that he contacted Racine Recovery and was advised that all impound fees would stop if he authorized his vehicle to be moved to Finishing Touch for a damage estimate. Scott is from Oak Creek and unfamiliar with local auto body shops, but said he was given the impression that the tow business was right around the corner from the auto body shop, which was Racine Recovery's old location, was in fact adjacent to the body shop, but no longer is. Scott was not told there would be any further towing charges. He was under the impression that no further towing charges would be incurred. Since he was allowing Finishing Touch the opportunity to give an estimate on damage repairs, Scott said he never received a damage estimate from Finishing Touch. He had an estimate from Southeast Damage Appraisal Service. He then asked Germantown Mutual if they ever received a damage estimate from Finishing Touch Auto Body, and they did not. The appraisal from Southeast Damage Appraisal Service is the appraisal Germantown Mutual contracted to receive. Last paragraph. As Investigator Nelson reviewed the documents digested, the service was promised and numerous charges were applied to the statement no further charges would accrue. Investigator Nelson felt this was a possible fraudulent business practice, took his case to the DA's office, and was advised by District Attorney Steenrod that if Germantown Mutual signed on as the victim, he would file charges against Racine Recovery, Finishing Touch Auto Body. Then made contact once again with Germantown Mutual, but the claims agent had been dealing with was not authorized to make that decision to press charges, indicated to involve her supervisor, and she would pass along his contact information. He has not heard from the supervisor, and he has not submitted charges to the DA's office for further consideration at this point, based on no further contact. So there is an ongoing investigation into the possibility of them, sounds like, using a third party, which then accrues more fees.
So then move to defer?
Yes.
Motion to defer?
Motion?
So there is already a motion on the floor, so that would need to be resolved before we could introduce a new motion.
Okay.
And then also I have one thing to add from the city attorney's office, that their license has been revoked in the past for the same allegations. They were also using an alias Finishing Touch at that time to overcharge customers. That's the same alias that they are alleged to have used in this situation as well.
I think they're right next door to each other, actually.
They were.
Okay.
That's part of the issue, is that they were initially, but they've since moved to a different location, so they're charging more now.
Okay. So at this point, we need to finish the motion that Alder Cole made.
Can I make a statement?
Yes.
So.
Yes, sir.
I've been trying to deal with this for a couple of weeks. I've called I called the police department. I've called Attorney Arn. No one's returned my call. Last Friday, I talked to Scott Letney. Scott Letney told me the only thing that was a problem, there was absolutely nothing, was some sort of insurance issue they had. And this is I got from Scott Letney Friday, and this is no communication for 2.5 weeks on this from anybody. And now I hear this. So I want to know, what the hell is going on? So
I do have a little bit of information on that. Traffic investigator Nudo has been out, Nelson has been out. And so this email to Attorney Arn detailing all of these allegations was sent on Saturday, May 25th. So it would have been after Alder Coe had talked with Attorney Letney.
Thank you.
well, then let's just go back. I'll rescind my approval and move to defer again.
I'll also add, to defer, it's the same as the liquor licenses where they all end at the end of June. So a deferral would effectively be a denial because they will all lapse then.
Okay. In this case, want to make?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So would this operator have the same kind of ability to have a due process hearing for this kind of violation? Or is that something that would come before this committee?
Check.
So I'm wondering if we would approve the license and then the investigation was completed, could we bring them back in and rescind the license?
So similar to the liquor license that we discussed for 1518, if this committee were to choose to not renew, the operator then could opt to, sorry, Attorney Arn just emailing me right now, so there is no due process for a denial of a renewal. There is a due process hearing required for a suspension or revocation of an existing license.
if I may, I would like to approve this license going forward because I don't know what their snafu was with billing, and I don't think they should be overcharging the business, but I also know that people's livelihoods are at stake here. So if we approve their license and then we find out that the investigation culminated in something that we need to call them in for a due process for, I'm perfectly comfortable doing that. But I don't want to force a business to stop operating while this investigation is going on. To me, it's no different than when an employee goes on paid leave while they're being investigated. So that's the route that I would like to take.
Going back to what you said, Attorney, if it's approved, then the only option that the committee has is to call them back in through a due process.
Yes.
They can't. So, okay, make sure I understand here. I appreciate what Alderman Widener is saying about the livelihood. I get that. But again, for the sake of fairness and being consistent, if they were, let's say there's more information after the investigation.
So my understanding is that the investigation is complete at this time because of that referral to the district attorney's office, and that there would not be any further information gained by traffic investigator Nelson on this file. So my understanding is the investigation is as far and as complete as it is going to be at this point.
Okay, but the legal part is still pending, working with the insurance company, is that correct?
No.
Yes, they're waiting for contact from the supervisor based on his communication here. He's still awaiting communication from the supervisor of the insurance company to say that they would like to be labeled as the victim.
Okay, that's the part that I'm uncomfortable.
In order for charges to be issued in this, there has to be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the case right now, is that they're waiting for them to recontact him. Now, that may be because of what the attorney said, because Investigator Nelson has been off for quite some time, and he's due back, I think, late this week or early part of next week. So I can't speak to when that communication may be.
Sure.
But that is, according to his email, that is what he's waiting for.
Okay.
So it's not just, it hasn't disappeared. It's still sitting there. As he stated, the investigation is complete. All of the information is at the DA's office right now, and now they're just waiting to hear back from the insurance company, and if they say they would like to be labeled as the victim and press charges, then they would proceed from there.
And then we could, if it went south, so to speak, we could then call them back in.
Yes, so if there was a motion to approve that was accepted, you could schedule a hearing that has witnesses to determine whether a suspension or revocation would be appropriate. It would go before the committee, not the due process board.
Okay.
Last question on that. Is there any urgency, if we deferred this another 2 weeks, would that impede their license?
Yes, a deferral would be the equivalent of a non-renewal because of scheduling of the common council and the next public safety and licensing meeting. The license ends before the next ones were to occur.
I forgot, Alderman Cole, did you withdraw your motion? Had you withdrawn
Yeah,
your
for that,
motion?
I just want to say there's only two toll companies in the city of Racine right now. Did you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, there's only two. Yeah, now, but there's only two toll companies in the city of Racine right now. So I would like to approve this until we can get this sorted out again.
Second.
I have
Did you hear me?
Okay, I have
Yes.
a motion and a second. And for protocol, is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we're almost done. Our next item is 0481 -24, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a renewal application for a massage establishment license, Relax Spa Massage, Inc., DBA Relax Spa Massage, which is located at 5110 Washington Avenue, Zhongguo, Chen, owner, 12th District. Again, it's renewal. Is there anything?
Move to approve.
Yep, sir.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 048224, communication sponsored by myself on behalf of the city clerk's office, submitting a renewal application for a massage establishment license, Relax Spa, Inc., DBA Relax Spa, which is located at 4036th Street. Same owner, Zhong Chen, owner, 1st District. Again, renewal.
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, before we go to the next two items, do you want to go back to 0480? You deferred to the end of the meeting.
Move
Yeah,
to defer.
thank you.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now I think I've lost my place here. We did 048124, right?
0482, yes, we're on 0439.
Okay, gotcha. Communication sponsored by Alder Pete on behalf of the City of Racine Police Department for the licensed premises report. Alder Tillman?
Empty.
Yeah, this one is, very short. Nothing of note really on here, that would be outstanding.
Okay.
Move to approve the premise report.
Or receive and file.
No. Move to approve.
We want to receive and file.
No.
Okay.
We move to approve so that it is included in
That's
our
all we,
report
that's what,
to council.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. Last item on the agenda is 044024, communication sponsored by myself, requesting any consideration for any formal expression of concern or other actions pursuant to the police report. Go ahead and read it. Seeing none,
We can receive and file.
move to receive and
Yes.
file.
Second.
Is there a motion? Okay.
Oh, I thought
Opposed?
Sandy,
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I seconded it before you moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all to code. We are officially adjourned.
He's on some kind of time lag.
Either that or it's the technology.